أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني. So I really hope you find and you got a chance to revise what we did last time, which is in entirely new world and will open up so much for you, inshallah. An entirely new world. Second is your commitment as well. You don't get the blessing and the guidance until you show the commitment. So I think, mashallah, you have shown so much of commitment and the patience throughout the time. So I think that has really helped all of us to progress. So keep showing it, keep coming with that charisma, with that commitment and dedication. I think that will take you forward and me forward as well. It's a learning session. We learn together, and let's keep on moving. Okay, good. So what I will do now, as always, I will share my screen. You should be used to it now. So I'll share my screen and then I'll do a very quick review of what we did last time. Then we'll jump onto the Ismiyah. Okay. Should be able to see my screen anytime now. Okay, so I know the screen is now in front of you because I'm also watching my own broadcast, which is kind of weird. Walaikum assalam, Imran. I hope you're okay. So it's kind of weird watching your face and watching your voice and everything in parallel. But yeah, that really helps me keep up to speed on what's going on with you all. So okay, let's kickstart, inshallah. So last time what we did a concept of finding an invisible is. Concept of finding an invisible is. Okay, why was this topic important? Why was this topic important? This topic was important because we said that the most basic form of the ism-based sentence is the one that has this word to be in it. The word is in it. This is a cat. This is a cat or car. That is a boy. I am a Muslim, and so on. So we said that this is the basic form of ism-based sentence, the most basic form of an ism-based sentence. And that's why we need to know how can we find is, because that there's no direct translation of the word is in Arabic language. Okay? There's no word in Arabic that can be mapped to is. It's hidden inside the grammatical structure of the sentences, and we need to find a way to decode it. And we discussed 5 tips of decoding if there's an is existent in the sentence or not. If there's no is in the sentence, then probably it's either an advanced sentence like having a verb in it, or it's not a sentence. It's probably a fragment. Okay, so and we'll develop this understanding more and more as we go forward. So what we did 5 tips. We did 5 indicators that can tell us an invisible is. 5 indicators to find an invisible is. Okay, that's what we did last time. So I'm going to quickly list them down. Inshallah. So the first one was independent pronouns. Okay, independent pronouns. We said independent pronouns are usually followed by an is. Independent pronouns are usually followed by an is. So why are we doing this? Because we want to be able to translate from the Arabic language into an English language, right? So finding an invisible is important to us. Okay? So first indicator was, as soon as you see the independent pronoun, there is potentially an invisible is. We did an example of ana muslimun, right? Muslimun. Okay. Ana muslimun. That's what we did. Okay. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. Okay, so this am is hidden. It's a form of an invisible is, right? It's this am is hidden, and we found it by decoding it because we know an independent pronoun is usually followed by an invisible is. Okay. The second one. The second indicator was pointer words. Pointer word is followed by an invisible is. Oh, sorry, a pointer word followed by other than al. Yeah. Pointer word followed. When the pointer word is followed by other than al, then there is an invisible is. Because if it is followed by an al, it's not a sentence. We know, right? It's a fragment. It's a pointer fragment. But when it is not followed by al, it's something else, then there is a sentence. It's an invisible is after it. Okay? And the example we did was haza baytun. Said haza. Oops. Keyboard change. Haza baytun. Haza baytun, not bastun, baytun. Baytun. Okay? Now, haza baytun translates to this is a house. This is a house, and we have this is here. Where does this is come from? We looked at the pointer and we said, oh, there's no al after it, and there's a normal ism after it. So therefore, there is an invisible is here. Okay? There's an invisible is here. Okay? Then we said the harf of nasab. Harf of nasab. Harf of nasab plus its ism. Okay? Harf of nasab plus its ism is usually followed by an invisible is. By an is. Let me call it that way. Okay? Is usually followed by an is. Okay? And the example, I don't remember which example we did, but let me create an example here. For example, we said inna Allah inna Allah inna Allah inna Allah alimun what should I use? Basirun, let's say. Basirun. Okay. This is not a Quranic example. I don't know if this statement exists in the Quran, but I just creating one. I'm just creating one to help you understand. Okay. And not in Allahi, in Allah. In Allah, it's nasab. Okay. In Allah. So Alim means all knowing, Basir means all seeing. Okay. So certainly Allah is all knowing, all seeing. Okay? All knowing, all seeing. Okay? Now this is coming because of the invisible is. The harf of nasab and its ism. Inna Allah, inna and Allah. After that, there's usually an invisible is. Okay? That's the third indicator. That's the third indicator. Then we said proper. I'm too bad at changing keyboards today. Proper followed by common. Proper followed by common is usually followed by invisible is. Usually followed by an invisible is. So the example we did was, I think, al-kutubu saghiratun. Al-kutubu saghiratun. Saghiratun. Okay, we said this means the books are small. The books are small, and now this are is an invisible is concept, right? The kutubu is a broken plural of kitab, kitabun, right? Saghiratun means small. So the books are small. Where did we get this R? Because we said there is a proper and there is a common. The first ism is proper, the second ism is common. Therefore, we have an invisible is in the middle. Okay, that was the fourth indicator. Fourth indicator. And the fifth one, usually the favorite one, we have break in the chain. We have break in the chain. Break in the chain is when you do not find any relationship between the two words. When you do not find any relationship between the two words, then you say, okay, there's potentially an invisible is. Now, listen to the word potentially. You will find loads of words where there's no relationship. You just cannot go and start putting down the invisible is everywhere. That will make things very weird. Okay, so you have to, of course, when you're doing the analysis, you have to look at the break in the chain. Yes, as a last resort, if the first four are not applicable. If the first four are not applicable, then you go to the break in the chain. And if the break in the chain is applicable, and then you try to put an invisible is and do the translation, you need to understand that translation should make sense. Yes, if it is bringing an invisible is at a place where it doesn't make any sense, then this is not effectively what you're looking for, right? And we'll see that in some examples going forward, inshallah. So the example was, I think, ar-rujulu fi-dari. Ar-rajulu, not rujulu, ar-rajulu, rajulu fi ad-dari. Dari. Okay. Now this means the man is in the house. The man is in the house. The man is in the house. Ar-rajulu is the man, okay? And fi means in, as you know, harf of jar. Ad-dari is the house. Therefore, this is comes from the invisible is decoding. It's breaking the chain. There's no relationship between ar-rajulu and fi, right? It's nothing between them. So this is breaking the chain. So 5 indicators to find an invisible is. That's what we did last time, okay? And then we jumped into the practice. So let me go to the practice now and see if there's any questions, if there's any confusion before we move forward with the remaining topics that we need to cover today, inshallah. Okay, good. So where's my notes? Okay, here are they. So please, let's go to page number 32, and let's see if we have any confusions. Let's see if we have any confusions of any kind. Okay. So is there any confusion on the ones that we leave actually? Any confusions? If there's any questions, please do ask here. Let me just quickly do this, the remaining ones, and then we'll move on, inshallah. Then we'll move on, inshallah. Okay. So this one that I'm showing you right now, Zalika Isa ibn Maryam. Zalika Isa ibn Maryam. Where do you think is the invisible is, and why? Which rule applies? Last one, Talha. Okay, so let's go to the last one first then. Let's go to the last one. Okay. Okay, now you've answered that. So let me finish that one first then. Okay, yes. So it's a pointer word. So after pointer word, there's an invisible is. Okay, so that's simple. Okay, that's simple. Let's go to the last one now. Excellent. The last one. Wallahu min waraihim muhitun. So where is the confusion? So where do we think is the invisible is? Give it a shot. Doesn't matter right or wrong. Just give it a shot. Apply the rules. So what's the first rule? What's the first indicator? Independent pronoun. Ask yourself, is there an independent pronoun? Yes or no? And go to the second one. I don't see any independent pronoun here, right? So it's probably no. Second one, pointer. Is there a pointer here? I don't see it. Okay, so probably this is also not the one. And the third one, harf of nasab and its ism. Okay, is there a harf of nasab and its ism? No, there is no harf of nasab and its ism. So I just can't apply rule number 3. Is it proper followed by common? Is it proper followed by common? Well, okay, Allahu as a word is a proper. Yes, absolutely. Is it followed by common? That's the question I need to answer. Is min common? Does the concept of common or proper applies to min? No, it's a harf. That concept applies to the isms, right? So that rule also, that rule doesn't apply because min is a harf. Min is a harf. The concept of proper and common is one of the properties of an ism. It's one of the properties of an ism. Type is one of the properties of an ism. When you have an harf, the 4 properties won't matter. Yeah? Yes, and waw is a connector, absolutely. Because if waw was not a connector, the word Allahu would be in jar state, isn't it? It would be wallahi. Yeah? It won't be wallahu. Okay? So because it's not in jar state, it tells me that waw is a connector, not a harf of jar waw. And min is a harf, as I know. Therefore, the properties of common or proper won't apply here. Okay? So Allahu as a word is proper, but there is nothing common after it. There's nothing common after it that I can say it's common or proper. So the rule number 4, proper followed by common, does not apply, does it? So the last resort was the break in the chain. Okay? When I go to the break in the chain, I say, okay, I see Allahu as a word. Great. Okay? And I do not see any relationship between Allahu as a word and the word min. Do we see any relationship? Is there any relationship? Any fragment, anything? What do you think? That's fine to be in doubt, absolutely. If you reach that level of thinking, that's a very good news. So well done. If you reach that level of thinking, if you have thought about that all over that, so that's, I think, a very good progress. So don't worry about this. These doubts will just go away. These are just distractions. So because there's no relationship between the lafzul jalala, the word, by the way, the word Allahu is usually called the lafzul jalala. Okay, so I may use this term for the word Allah. Okay, so the lafzul jalala and the word min has no relationship between them. Therefore, the invisible is after the lafzul jalala, Allahu, and it is the rule number 5, break in the chain. Break in the chain. Okay, does that make sense? Clarifies? Good. Okay, let's do the remaining 3, and then let's do the remaining 3. This should be a piece of cake for you guys. Ana rabbuka. Ana rabbuka. And if I ask you to translate this for me, you should be able to translate this for me as well. Ana rabbuka. First, tell me where is the invisible is and why, and which rule applies. Where is the invisible is and which rule applies? Independent pronoun, correct. Independent pronoun, absolutely. Can you translate this for me? Can you try to translate this for me? It should be easy. Yes, independent pronoun, correct, absolutely correct. Well done. Let's give it a shot to translation because, okay, this first attempt is I am Rab. Okay, fine. Give it another shot. I am okay. Yes, you guys are close. You're not complete. You guys are close, but you're not complete. Let's do it one by one. Okay, let's do it together. So if you translate ana, what is ana? Ana is I. Okay, ana is I, right? And you know, after ana there is an invisible is. And when there is an invisible is, and you have a pronoun, you would not write I is, you would just say I am, isn't it? That makes sense, right? That makes sense. That's what you both have said. I am. Okay, cool. That's wonderful. Now let's go to the last part. Rabbuka. Rabbuka. What is Rabbuka? What is Rabbuka? What's happening with Rabbuka? Is there something fishy going on here, Rabbuka? Two words, correct, Imran? Yes, two words. What is the relationship? Attached pronoun, perfect. Yes, yes, both correct. Attached pronoun, two words. Your Lord, correct. How do you read through your Lord? Which fragment is this? Which fragment is this? Is this a fragment? If so, which one is it? Should be a piece of cake, buddy. Piece of cake. You've done 5 fragments, right? This is one of the easiest ones. One of the easiest ones. It's an idafa. Absolutely. Good. It's an idafa. Fantastic. And idafa is an off relationship, isn't it? It's an off relationship. So you can say, I am master of yours, or you can say, I'm your master or Lord. Or if you want to stick to the usual, Rab. Fine. You see? You see? You're not translating, mashallah. Okay? Just need to look a bit more closely. Just need to look a bit more closely. Okay? At least the words whose meanings are known to you, try to translate them with your knowledge. The words you don't know the meanings, okay, fine. Let's do the grammatical analysis only, and we'll get to the meanings later on. Okay? But I just wanted to give you a feel how far you guys have come, mashallah. It's a good journey you have taken, and you're doing a fantastic job. Very good. Good. Alhamdulillah. Where is the invisible is and why? Where is the invisible is and why? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Should be easy as well. In fact, you should be able to translate this one too without problems. Alhamdulillah. So I'm looking at alhamdu, which is proper. And then lillahi is the la you think it's common, right? Any other point of view? What is lillahi? Let's look at lillahi. What is lillahi? What is lillahi? Why is this jar? Why is this jar? Invisible is definitely after alhamdu. You both are right. It's proper. Yeah, fine. It's after al, not just because it's proper. Let's find out why is there invisible is here. But I want to know which rule applies here. Which rule applies here? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Which one? And why? I want to understand lillahi. What is lillahi? Lillahi. And why is this jar? How many words are these? When you attach a lam of harf of jar, the lam of harf of jar with the word Allah, it becomes lillahi. Okay? It becomes lillahi. Okay? When you attach the harf of jar, lam, with the word Allah, it becomes lillahi. So this is a harf of jar fragment. Harf of jar fragment. Okay? And that's why the word Allahi is jar. Okay? Otherwise, it shouldn't be. There are just two reasons it's jar, right? Either it's a mudaf ilay or it's followed by a harf of jar. There are just two reasons any ism would be jar. Either it is mudaf ilay or it is followed by a harf of jar. Okay? Now, this is jar. Now, if this is jar, the next word after alhamdu is lam, isn't it? The next word after alhamdu is lam. Yeah, and lam is a harf. It is not an ism, so I cannot say it's a common or a proper one, right? I just can't say that. This is break in the chain, rule number 5. It's a break in the chain. There's no relationship. Yeah? It's a break in the chain. Okay. There's no exception here, Tala. It's just the way it is written. Lillahi is lam and the Dafzul Jalala together becomes lillahi, and it's a normal harf of jar fragment. Okay? Good. And this last one before we move on to the next topic, inshallah. Inna hazihi tazkiratun. Inna hazihi tazkiratun. Where is the invisible is and why? Should be easy. Should be easy. Which rule applies? I'm looking at inna. Inna happens to be a harf of nasab, isn't it? Happens to be harf of nasab. Yes, Dala, you're jumping ahead. You're just looking at hazihi, right? Well, what about the inna? It's not because hazihi has no al. It's because it's a harf of nasab fragment. It's a harf of nasab fragment, right? I would apply harf of nasab, not the pointer one, because if I apply pointer one, what is my reason not to include inna when I know it's a harf of nasab? What is the role inna playing? Not harf of jar, harf of nasab. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, layta, lakinna, la alla. It's all harf of nasab, right? So I'm going to look at the harf of nasab, and then I'm going to find the harf of nasab ism, and that happens to be a pointer, because pointers are inflexible. They look same in all statuses. So in case of nasab, it will look the same as well. Okay, and I'm going to pack this together. I'm going to say, okay, inna and its ism hazihi together form a harf of nasab, and after harf of nasab there is usually an invisible is. Okay, if I just put it by saying hazihi and not followed by al, so what is inna doing here? That's the question I will have to answer then, right? Okay. But it's good that it's good that you're thinking about everything. It's very good that you're thinking about everything, and that's what we want. Okay, so don't rush to conclusion. Just think just think deeply about this. So every word has a reason, right? So it's there for a reason, inshallah. Okay? Good, excellent. Any other one in this exercise that confused you? If not, then I would like to move forward. Okay, give me one if I can move forward. Give me one if I can move forward, if you're okay with it. Okay, good, excellent, wonderful. So let me move here back to the Word document. Okay, now what we will start now is ism-based sentences. Ism-based sentences. Ism-based sentences. This is an interesting topic, and we call it Jumla Ismiyah. I told you, I guess, last time. We call it Jumla Ismiyah. Jumla Ismiyah. Jumla Ismiyah. Okay. Now, Jumla Ismiyah has three parts. Three parts. Okay. I'm going to try to draw them here so you understand them clearly. Okay. Let me insert a table. So you need to pay attention on this. Okay. Word, please don't play with me today. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. Okay, I'm going to insert this, and I'm going to center align it so it's neat as well. Okay, good. So Jumla Ismiyah has three parts. Part number 1, part number 2, and part number 3. Okay, three parts. The way Jumla Ismiyah is structured, it is composed of 3 elements, right? 3 elements. Now, let me do, yeah. Now, the part number 1 is a part that exists before is. This is before is, okay? And part number 2 and 3 exist after is. Okay? I'll tell you what these parts are. Just understand the structure. After is. There's a part that is before is, and there's a part that is after is. Okay? In the structure of a Jumla Ismiyah, there's one part definitely before it is, okay, and 2 parts after is. The part before is called, I'm going to give you a terminology here. I'm going to give you a terminology here. It's called a mubtada, okay? It's called a mubtada. Mubtada. Let me write here as well, okay? In Arabic, mubtada. Mubtada. This part before is called mubtada, okay? Because it is the start. You know the word ibtada? It's similar to that. Because it starts the sentence, that's why it's called mubtada. Okay, the one that starts the sentence, okay? It's called mubtada. This is the part before is. This is the part before is. Let me gray them out a little bit so you can focus here more. Okay? So the part before is called the mubtada. Okay? Now, there are 2 parts after is. The 2 parts after is. The first part after is called the khabar. Khabar. You know khabar from Urdu as well, probably? The news. Khabar. That's similar like that. Khabar. Okay? Khabar. That's the next part after is, but it is always after is. Okay? It is not before is. It's always after is. And the third part, it's a terminology, we'll get used to it. Third part is called, don't freak out, it's called muta'alliq. Muta'alliq, well, I don't know how to write ayn here, but in English, muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay? Khabar. Write it in Arabic too. Okay? Muta'alliq bil khabar. Bil khabar. Okay? Muta'alliq bil khabar. I want us to be very clear with this. 3 parts in an ism-based sentence. 3 parts in an ism-based sentence. And these parts are mubtada, khabar, and muta'alliq bil khabar. Mubtada, khabar, and muta'alliq bil khabar. The part before is called the mubtada, and the 2 parts after are called khabar and muta'alliq bil khabar. Now, what does that mean? I'll tell you inshallah in a minute. Okay? This is a standard structure of a Jumla Ismiyah. It's a standard structure of an ism-based sentence. Every normal ism-based sentence would follow this sequence. First, the number 1 would come, mubtada would come. The second, khabar would come. And third, muta'alliq bil khabar would come. Okay? It's bil khabar. There's a lam here. Bil khabar. Okay? Okay? That's a standard structure of any ism-based sentence. Okay? Now, this mubtada thing it can be 2 types of isms. It's an ism-based sentence, so this is all ism. This is all ism, right? So it can be only 2 types of isms. Okay? The 2 types. It can either be ism in rafa, okay, or it can be harf of nasab plus its ism. Plus its ism. Okay? These are the 2 things that can be the starters of an ism-based sentence. Starters of the ism-based sentence. Okay? Right? Any questions so far? Any confusion so far? Before I keep on giving you stuff. I'm just explaining you the structure of an ism-based sentence. Then we'll go and try to map this structure into the Arabic. And it will help us bringing many things together. Okay? It will help us bringing many things together. Okay? So the first part is mubtada, and mubtada can be ism in rafa state. It's usually ism in rafa state, or it's a harf of nasab and it's ism, or it's a harf of nasab and it's ism. Okay, that's what we need to understand. A harf of nasab and it's ism. This part mubtada is also mandatory. Oops, not in Arabic. Mandatory. This is mandatory. This cannot be avoided. It cannot be skipped. This is absolutely mandatory. In any ism-based sentence, mubtada would always exist. Mubtada would always exist. Okay? If there is no mubtada, there is no ism-based sentence. It's a mandatory element of an ism-based sentence. Okay? Now, khabar is simple. Khabar can be just one type. It can be just one type. Khabar is ism in rafa, always. Okay? Khabar is an ism in rafa. Okay? Khabar is ism in rafa. And it is an optional element. Oh, I keep on writing with Arabic keyboard. Optional element. Now this one is optional element. Let me make it amber. Okay? It's optional. Okay, it may exist or it may not exist. May exist or it may not exist. Okay. I will explain you what each of them means. Okay. Just bear with me. Just understand the structure of this ism-based sentence. If you understand the structure, then you really will understand it better. Okay. Then you really understand it right. Okay? Now, muta'alliq bil khabar. Muta'alliq bil khabar. Whatever that is, I don't know yet. Okay. I will tell you. Can be two things. Can be two things. It can be harf of jar fragment. It can be a harf of jar fragment. Okay. Or it can be an idafa. It can be an idafa with a special mudaf. It can be an idafa with a special mudaf. Idafa with special mudaf. I'm going to add one thing to it. Okay. I'm going to add one thing to it. Okay. That are zarf, which will confuse you a little bit right now, but don't worry. We'll clarify. Okay. We'll clarify. Okay. So you can, for now, you can say it's an idafa with a special mudaf. Okay. This is also an optional element. This is also an optional element in the ism-based sentence. However, one of these two optional elements must exist. Must exist. Okay? One of these two optional elements must exist. So if khabar is not there, muta'alliq bil khabar has to be there. If muta'alliq bil khabar is not there, khabar has to be there. So any jumla ismiyah will have either one or two, or it will have one or three, or it can have one, two, three, all three of them. Okay, but it cannot happen that you just have one. That cannot happen. Okay, it's not possible. Any confusions, questions? Are we okay so far? Anything's bothering? Any concerns? This is just understanding the structure. It's just understanding the structure, inshallah. Okay? Good, good, excellent, excellent. So mubtada, what is a mubtada? Mubtada is the starter of a sentence. Okay, it's a starter of a sentence. Let me define it that way. Okay, mubtada is a starter of a sentence because it's a part before is. Khabar is a detail about the sentence. But detail about the sentence, okay? Something, whatever is the detail, some information, detail or information, okay? Detail or information about the sentence, whatever is being discussed, okay? And muta'alliq bil khabar is basically something related to the khabar. Something related to the khabar. Muta'alliq, it means it has a ta'alluq. It has a relationship. It has something to do with the khabar. Khabar is effectively detail or information. Okay, detail or information, whatever you want to call it. Okay, detail or information. Okay, mubtada is the starter of the sentence. Then there is a khabar. Khabar provides some additional detail or information about the sentence, about something being discussed. And then muta'alliq bil khabar would provide something that is related to the detail itself. Okay? Sometimes when you don't have a khabar, you would still have something related to the detail of the sentence. That's fine. Okay? But this is how you could define it very clearly. Okay? Now, if that's clear, if that is clear to you, then let me help you define what is a zarf. Okay, this is the structure of ism-based sentence. So what we'll do is when we'll do the grammatical analysis, I would, instead of writing mubtada, khabar, and muta'alliq bil khabar, I would say 1, 2, and 3. That's easy. It will help us. It will help us understand the sequence of the sentence. If 1 is really coming at one place, and 2 is really coming, or 3 is coming or not. But we know the legend says 1 is the mubtada, 2 is the khabar, and 3 is the muta'alliq bil khabar. Normally, in some places, you would also label mubtada as M, khabar as K, and muta'alliq bil khabar as MBK. We'll also label it like that. So whatever works for you, that's fine. It's your own personal choice. But I normally prefer 1, 2, 3 because it's cleaner, it's neater. Okay? It doesn't make things messy, especially when you have fails coming, and then tomorrow we'll have a jumla fi'liya, fail-based sentence, and when all of the things come together, it becomes really, really messy doing the grammatical structures and analysis. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 really helps in keeping things neat. Okay, let me give you some examples. Let me give you some examples before I give you more information about anything else. Okay, so let's create some examples. Okay. If I say, let's say, if I say, let me create an example outside of the table. Okay, if I say huwa sha'irun, huwa sha'irun, sha'irun, huwa sha'irun. Okay, now let's look at this. Huwa sha'irun. Where is the invisible is? Where is the invisible is? Can you find the invisible is? Can you find the invisible is? Where is the invisible is? Huwa sha'irun. After huwa, correct. So huwa is a part before is or after is? What is the huwa? Is the huwa part before is or after is? What is huwa? Is huwa part before is or after is? Invisible is definitely is after huwa because it's an independent pronoun. That's a correct answer. So if the invisible is after it, after huwa, the huwa is something which is before is. So what would huwa be? Huwa be a mubtada, khabar, or muta'alliq bil khabar? What would be huwa? Is it going to be mubtada, khabar, or muta'alliq bil khabar? Yeah, that's right, Allah. He is a poet. Let's try to understand the structure. Inshallah, we'll go to the translation too. It's gonna be a mubtada, right? It's gonna be number 1. Oh, it's not here. It's gonna be number 1. Huwa is number 1 for sure. Okay? Huwa is number 1. It's mubtada. It's mubtada. So what about sha'irun? Sha'irun. Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? Sha'irun. Would it be a khabar or a muta'alliq bil khabar? Because one of the two must exist, right? So one of the two must exist. In an ism-based sentence, you must have either khabar or muta'alliq bil khabar. Otherwise, it cannot be an ism-based sentence. Mubtada is a mandatory part. Khabar or muta'alliq is an optional part. So one of them must exist. And we know what can be khabar. It's written on top. And what can be muta'alliq bil khabar. What do you think is sha'irun? Is it more applicable to a khabar or more applicable to muta'alliq bil khabar? Sha'irun is an ism in Rafa, right? So it's an ism in the Rafa state. It's sha'irun. And what can be ism in Rafa? Is it muta'alliq bil khabar or khabar? So it's clearly something which is khabar, right? Khabar can be an ism in Rafa state. So it's gonna be the khabar, number 2. It's gonna be number 2, right? Right? It's gonna be number 2. Okay? So it's huwa is a mubtada and sha'irun is a khabar. There is no muta'alliq bil khabar in this sentence. And it is following the sequence, which is a standard sequence, right? It's following the sequence that is a standard sequence. 1 coming after that, coming 2, and then coming 3. In this case, there is no 3, right? There is no muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay? So that's a simple ism-based sentence. The simple ism-based sentence and the structure of the ism-based sentence we have just analyzed a little bit here. Okay? So let me take you to the exercise that you were doing, and let's redo that exercise. And now we redo this exercise, keeping in mind the concepts of ism. Okay, keeping in mind the concepts of ism. Okay, but let me take you here. So same page number 32. Now we will do the same exercise, keeping in mind these concepts, and I'm going to erase everything on this page. Okay, and I need to find out how to erase everything on this page. Okay, so let me just take the eraser and erase it big time like this. Okay, wait a second. Okay, cool. Okay, good. Now it's all neat and shiny. So we will do the same exercise. Let me start giving you a perspective. So you may be feeling that we have done 5 tips of finding an invisible is. An invisible is could be after a pronoun and after a pointer, and then harf of nasab, and then proper followed by common, and break in the chain. And then I'm being told that the part before is will either be rafa or harf of nasab only. Okay, so if you look at these examples here in your notes, starting with this one, ana muslimun. What do you think is the status of ana? What do you think is the status of ana? Can you give me the status of ana? Just the status. The status of ana as an independent pronoun. An independent pronoun is always what? Rafa, isn't it? So this is the ism, having invisible is after it, and it's rafa. So yeah, mubtada can be rafa, right? So this is a mubtada. We go next. Haza baytun. Haza baytun. What is the status of haza? We have invisible is here. What is the status of haza? It's a pointer, and the default status of a pointer is rafa, right? It's rafa again. So it's also a mubtada. right? So mubtada can be rafa, right? Now we go to this one. Inna Allaha ala kulli shay'in qadir. Right? So now the invisible is was after Inna Allaha. Inna Allah. And we said mubtada could be either rafa or after the harf of nasab and its ism, isn't it? So this is the mubtada. This is the mubtada number one. This is the mubtada. Okay? Making sense? Yeah, yeah, making sense. Then we said proper followed by common. In this case, the invisible is was here after al-kutub. Al-kutubu, right? Now, what is the status of al-kutubu? Rafa. Every time you have the status rafa here or a harf of nasab, right? Every time. So this is also a mubtada. Which part, Talha? The number 3? Inna Allaha one? Inna Allaha one? So what we say, we say the mubtada can be rafa or harf of nasab and its ism, right? A mubtada can be rafa or harf of nasab and its ism. Do you agree with me? This is what we said. Let me show you here. Okay, what we said. Okay, this part, these parts. Okay, harf of nasab and its ism or a rafa. This is these are the only two things, and a mubtada can be, right? Now we go back to the exercise and we find Inna Allah. Inna Allah, but it's harf of nasab and its ism, right? It's harf of nasab and its ism. Therefore, it is mubtada, right? And it is a part before is, isn't it? It's a part before is. Okay. Let me know if it is still not clear. I'm happy to explain again. No problem. Okay. Then we have this break in the chain, which is ar-rajulu fi dari, and we said the is after ar-rajulu, right? And what is the status of ar-rajulu? Rafa. Okay. If you look at this, all of these elements which are before invisible is, are either rafa or harf of nasab with its ism, right? Either rafa or harf of nasab before its ism. And that's what we said, right? That's what we said. The mubtada is either rafa or harf of nasab and its ism. Okay? When I was telling you this invisible is concept, I did not tell you this mubtada stuff because that was too early for that. But the overall purpose of finding an invisible is because we want to be able to differentiate between a mubtada and khabar and muta'alliq bil khabar. And invisible is helps us identify what is mubtada because we know it is before invisible is. Okay, it is before invisible is. Okay. Now we do the same exercise again, and this will inshallah completely give you a different perspective of the same thing, inshallah. Okay? Let's start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so what I want you to do is first I want you to identify the invisible is, which you probably already know. And then I would like you to identify any fragments that you find here. If there's any fragments that you find here. Yeah? That's what I want you to do. So first, identify the invisible is, which we have already done. We can do it quickly. But then we also find any fragments that exist. Okay? And whatever fragments that exist, we can circle them. Or draw a line under them. Whatever is beneficial or suitable for you. Okay? So let's do that. So we know invisible is, in this case, zalika is a pointer. Invisible is here. Okay? Invisible is here. Okay, after zalika, because it's a pointer. As soon as I find an invisible is, the part before invisible is, has to be either rafa or harf of nasab with its ism, because that's when it becomes mubtada, right? So is zalika a rafa state? Yes. Zalika is in Rafa state. So for me, Zalika is the Mubtada, number one. Zalika is the Mubtada, number one. Okay? You agree with me on this? You agree with me on this? Zalika is a Mubtada. Do we agree on that? Everything clear so far here? Because Zalika is Rafa and it's part before is. Right? It's a part before is. Good. Excellent. Now we move on. We find min ayati. What is min ayati? What is min ayati? I want to find fragments, all the fragments that exist here. All the fragments that exist here. Can I find the first fragment, which I have already given you? It's min ayati. Min ayati is the first fragment I found. Min ayati is going to be the first fragment that I found. What type of fragment is this? What type of fragment is this? So I would rather mark it with the highlighter. That would be easier. Okay. Min ayati. What type of fragment is it? It's a harf of jar. Correct. It's a harf of jar. It's a harf of jar. That's cool. That's cool. So when we see harf of jar, what element in the ism-based sentence is it? Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? What is it? What is it? Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? And it's a part after is, right? It just cannot be a mubtada. It's part after is, and it has to be either a khabar or a muta'alliq bil khabar. What element of Jumla Ismiyah is this? Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? Is it a khabar or is it a muta'alliq bil khabar? Yeah. Yeah. Harf of jar is muta'alliq bil khabar. Yeah, it's fine. You can write MBK, you can write 2 instead of writing all of that. So I will understand it. So yes, it's a muta'alliq bil khabar. So it is number 3, right? It is number 3. Let me take you here again, so to show you. So we said that muta'alliq bil khabar can be a harf of jar fragment and it's number 3, right? It's number 3. It comes in the end normally in a standard structure of Jumla Ismiyah. Right? It's an MBK. That's correct. Muta'alliq bil khabar. Right? So wait a second. Okay. Now I've labeled it number 3. That's great. Then I move forward and I find the lafzul jalala Allahi. So is there a relationship of lafzul jalala Allahi with the words coming before it? With ayati. Ayati. Isn't this an idafa? Isn't this an idafa? Ayati and Allahi. It's an idafa, right? Ayati is light, no al, followed by jar. It's an idafa fragment. It's an idafa fragment. Okay? Now if we see that, we have min ayati and we have ayatillahi. Is there any break in the chain? Is there any break in the chain here? Is there anything that is disconnecting them? There's nothing, right? They're constantly connected. This structure is constantly connected. So there's nothing in the middle that's breaking them apart. So what I would do here is I would say this muta'alliq bil khabar is not just the min ayati, it is going to be this entire fragment. This entire fragment is going to be a number 3 because I cannot break them apart. Because I cannot break them apart. Are you with me on this? Okay. I cannot break them apart. So in this sentence, we have a mubtada and we have a muta'alliq bil khabar. We have a muta'alliq bil khabar. We do not have any khabar here. right? We don't have any khabar here. Is this clear? Let's do a next one to clarify more, inshallah. Okay? Now, al-haqqu. Al-haqqu, oops, al-haqqu min rabbikum. Sure. No need to be sorry. I mean, that's why we're here. Absolutely. Let me explain that again. So what we did was we said that min ayati is a harf of jar fragment, right? And we labeled it as a harf of jar, and we said that it would be a muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay? This is the state we were in. So we said, okay, min ayati is harf of jar, and this part is going to be a muta'alliq bil khabar. Number 3, right? This part is going to be muta'alliq bil khabar. But then we move forward and we realize that min ayati is connected to the word Allahi. It is also connected to the word Allahi. And the way it is connected is because it's forming this idafa fragment, right? Ayati and Allahi. This is forming this idafa fragment, right? And because it's forming this idafa fragment and there's a connection here, there's a continuous connection here, and I cannot disconnect these words. I just cannot take a portion and say this portion is muta'alliq bil khabar. I will have to take a full bunch and I have to call it a muta'alliq bil khabar because it's all connected. So what I did was, instead of saying min ayati as muta'alliq bil khabar, I took the entire bunch and said all of this story, all of this is number 3. Oh, the black is not the right color here. So let me bring in a new color. Let's say green. Okay. I said all of this is muta'alliq bil khabar, not just min ayati. Okay, because everything is connected. Yes. Okay. That means Talha, if it is still not clear. Okay. Moving on. Al-haqqu. Yes, al-haqqu. We have invisible is here. Therefore, al-haqqu is the mubtada, number 1. Correct. Correct. It's rafa and it's mubtada, right? And then when we move forward, we find what? We find min rabbi. Min rabbi. Is this a fragment which is harf of jar? Yes. This is a harf of jar fragment. We found it, harf of jar fragment. So we say, okay, it could be muta'alliq bil khabar. Could be muta'alliq bil khabar. But when we go forward, we find this rabbi, just like before, is also connected to kum. It's also connected to kum, and this is an idafa. Yes, idafa. So min rabbikum alone cannot, min rabbi alone cannot be a muta'alliq bil khabar. We have to say that this entire bunch is muta'alliq bil khabar, right? This entire bunch is muta'alliq bil khabar. Min rabbikum. Min rabbikum. Yes, it's a similar example as before. Right. Yes. You're right, Allah. Kum is a pronoun. Yes. You see that? It's very mathematical. It's very mathematical. It's a very beautiful structure. So there's a logic behind things, right? So it's very beautiful structure. And you immediately see, just by labeling 1 and 3, you see, oh, the middle part is missing. The standard structure of the sentence is not completely followed. It's followed because 1 is coming before and 3 is coming after, but the part 2 is missing. So not everything in the Jumla Ismiyah is there. Okay? That is supposed to be in a standard structure. Okay? Okay. All right, I would do a different one first before I do this one. Let me just go to a different one. Let me go to this one first. Yeah, let's do this one. Okay. Now, do we remember where was the invisible is on this one? The invisible is on this one. Do we remember it? The invisible is, so what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at the inna, and I know it's a harf of nasab, right? And I look at the inna and I find yajuja as its ism, which is nasab, right? I find yajuja as its ism, which is nasab. But at the same time, I find another ism which is nasab, and I need to find the reason. This majuja is also nasab. And I realize that, okay, there's a connector wow in the middle that is propagating the inna's impact on majuja too. Okay, it's all connected. It's all connected, right? So is this inna has two isms which are made nasab because of it. So inna yajuja wa majuja, because there is a connector here. If it was not a connector, this majuja should be in jar state, right? Should be in jar state. So what I do, what I say, okay, this entire bit is my mubtada, because invisible is here. Invisible is here. Okay, this entire bit is my mubtada. You see that? You see that? Everyone agrees? Any confusion, doubts, objections? So inna yajuja wa majuja is going to be my mubtada, because mubtada can be a rafa or it can be a harf of nasab with its ism. This time we have two isms with a harf of nasab, right? So all of this is going to be a mubtada. Okay. Now we move forward and we find mufsiduna. What is mufsiduna? Can you analyze this for me? What is mufsiduna? What type of word? Anything about the status? Anything you want to tell me about this? Mufsiduna? What about mufsiduna? Rings a bell? So mufsiduna is having a typical pattern, right, that we have done in the past, in the very beginning of our classes. Mufsiduna, like muslimuna, isn't it? Yes, correct, Imran. Very good. So this is a rafa plural, right? Like muslimuna. It's a rafa plural. Because it's a rafa plural, I'm going to say, oh, it's a rafa and it is coming after the invisible is. Therefore, it is number 2, which is khabar. Because khabar can be rafa, right? This is what we said. Khabar can be rafa. Look here in this table. Khabar can be rafa. Ism in rafa state. Okay, ism in rafa state. Now this is a detail about something being talked about in a mubtada. Okay? About something being talked about in a mubtada. So inna yajuja majuja. Certainly yajuj and majuj are mufsiduns, right? Are the ones who create fasad, corruption in the land, are mufsiduns. So this khabar is giving you additional information about something happening in mubtada, right? So that's your number 2 element of the Jumla Ismiyah, right? And then we move forward. What is happening going forward? What's happening after it? What's happening after it? Fil ardi. Fil ardi. Is there a fragment here? Fil ardi. Right? It's a harf of jar, right? Therefore, it is muta'alliq bil khabar. Therefore, it is muta'alliq bil khabar. Yes? You all see that? Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Fantastic. Fantastic. So this is a full ism-based sentence having all the elements in it. The structure is also in the same sequence, right? 1, 2, 3. The standard sequence. 1, 2, 3. Okay? The mubtada, khabar, muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay? Mubtada, khabar, muta'alliq bil khabar. So let's go one step forward with this a little bit. So if I had to translate this, I just want to give it a shot here with you so we can feel that there's something that we are learning now very well. So inna is, what does inna mean? Certainly. Certainly. Okay? Or indeed. Yes? Certainly, indeed. Yajuja wa majuja. Yajuja means Yajuj or Gog, if you want to call it really in English, Gog, or Yajuj in Arabic. Okay? Va is what? And. And. Majuj, that's Magog. Gog, Magog. Or you want to call it Yajuj and Majuj, that's also fine. Right? Certainly, Gog, Magog, or certainly Yajuj and Majuj. Then comes what? Invisible is. What should I write? What should I write? What would make sense in English? Can I say certainly Yajuj and Majuj is? Can I say that? Or should I say something else? Are. Correct. So I would say are. Right? Certainly. Yajuj and Majuj are. Mufsiduna. It's plural and it's rafa, right? It's plural. It's plural. And mufsiduns are the ones who create corruption, who cause corruption. The ones who cause corruption. There is no one word I can give you in English. The ones who cause corruption. Okay, so I would have to say ones who cause corruption. Okay, or ones who cause corruption. Okay, fil ardi. Can you translate fil ardi for me? Can you do fil ardi for me? Fi. What does fi mean? Fi. Fi. Fi was harf of jar, meaning what? What was the meaning of fi? Yeah, yeah. On earth, yeah, yeah. You could say on earth, in earth, whatever makes sense. In earth, or On earth. It's rather in earth, Talha, because on is not, he is not usually translated as on, as 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 on, but on is also fine because it also makes sense in English as well, right? So it's not wrong, it's fine. On, in, whatever makes sense of this sentence. Now, what you have done here is you've done the grammatical analysis in Arabic, and because we knew the meanings of these words, we also try to translate that in English. And now this is making sense. Yes? Certainly, Yajuj and Majuj are ones who cause corruption in earth. Or is it in earth or is it in the earth? Or is it in earth or is it in the earth? It's al-ardi. Al-ardi, not ardi, right? It's al-ardi. In the earth. In the earth. Let me just keep it to in for now. In the earth. You see that? Now you're translating sentences, full blown, and you cannot translate those sentences until you understand the fragments, how they are connected together, until you understand how the structure of an ism-based sentence works, and until you understand how to find this invisible is in a sentence, so you can make a difference between a mubtada, khabar, and the muta'alliq bil khabar. Yes, it's very mathematical. It's very mathematical. And inshallah, it will start to make more and more sense as we move along. Okay? So how much time have we got? We've got 6 minutes. We've got 6 minutes. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's do this one. Wallahu min wara'ihim muhitun. Yes, that was proper, Tala. The al-ard was proper. Wallahu min wara'ihim muhitun. Now I want to know what is the mubtada. First, step one. What is the mubtada? And for that, you know what you need to do. You need to find the invisible is, and you need to tell me the part before invisible is, that is going to be the mubtada. You also need to verify if that part before invisible is, oh, you already know the answer. Oh, I'm still explaining instructions. You're giving me answers, Marsha. That's cool. So when you find an invisible is, you also need to understand, check if it is rafa or if it is harf of nasab, okay? Because you will find things which are not related but may not make sense. I'll give you an example just now. Okay? Yes, you're right. The invisible is after the word Allahu, because we just did that in the beginning of the class. Therefore, this would be mubtada. Mubtada. Okay? Okay. Now, tell me which other elements are also existing in this structure. Do we have any point of view? Just look closely, you will find them. What you should be doing is trying to identify all the fragments first. Okay? Yes. Yes. Min wara'i. Min wara'ihim is one fragment, right? Min wara'i. Min wara'i is harf of jar. Okay? And then there is an attached pronoun, which is wara'ihim. You see this? This is idafa. Idafa. Your answer is right. It is muta'alliq bil khabar, but I want you to really identify all the fragments. All the fragments that you can find. Okay? All the fragments. There are two fragments, not just harf of jar, right? There are two fragments. There's min wara'i and there is wara'ihim. Okay? The two fragments chained together. And because of that, we say this part is muta'alliq bil khabar. Number 3. It's a muta'alliq bil khabar. Yes, Imran. Wara'ihim is idafa. Correct. This is muta'alliq bil khabar. Muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay. What else? What else? Muhitun is rafa, correct. Muhitun is rafa. That makes it a khabar, correct. That's number 2. Okay, that makes it a khabar. Fantastic. Yes, it's singular and it's rafa. Okay, and you immediately numbers on 1, 2, 3. You immediately see it is not following a standard structure of a Jumla Ismiyah, right? It is not 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 3, 2, right? It's 1, 3, 2. It is not following that standard structure. And there are reasons when sentences do not follow the standard structure. One of those reasons, when they fluctuate between, when the khabar and muta'alliq bil khabar exchange those positions, it's sometimes because of exclusivity, sometimes because of emphasis. Okay, and we'll do that inshallah in later classes. But there's always a reason for a sentence to change its structure. Okay. Okay. It's like saying an example. I'm trying to construct an example. So I saw that car, or I know that person, or I know that man. There's one thing. There's one way of saying I know that man. Okay, I know that man. There's same thing can be said. That man I know. Right? That man I know. It's the same words but fluctuated, right? It's changed positions. I know that man. That man I know. What do you feel? What is the difference? What is the difference? Do you feel a bit more emphasis in the second one when I say that man I know? There's a bit more tone to it. There's a bit more expression to it, isn't it? So you use the same words, but you change the positions, even in English, to create this feeling of expression and emphasis. So that also happens in Arabic, and Allah changes these positions in the words to create this emphasis too. So we will learn this inshallah. There's a topic on emphasis going forward inshallah. If we continue that study, they will talk about all of these things inshallah. Okay? But you understand the point, right? So you understand what we're trying to achieve here. So you need to be really good at the structure of an ism-based sentence. There are still few things I have not told you. I've not told you about the zarf. I've not told you about some of the aspects, which we will inshallah continue to do tomorrow. Okay. For now, what I would really like you to do is to try to do as much as you can at home. Okay. Try to do as much as you can at home. This one, I intentionally asked you to leave this because of this word, malan. Because of malan, okay? Because there's nothing I've told you that can be in nasab status because of malan. So just solve this. Just solve this up to this point. Okay? You can solve this up to this point. Okay? All right. To solve this up to this point, and inshallah, we will do the remains later on when we go a bit more advanced. Okay. By the way, and all of the remaining, you should be able to do it, inshallah. You should be able to do it. Just try to do it. Just try to make these structures, identify the elements of the ism-based sentences in this exercise. And tomorrow we'll continue this and deep dive into this ism-based sentence. And this week, inshallah, we'll close this topic. And next week, Hurrah, we'll start with the fi'l studies. That will make things even more interesting. Okay? Okay? Good. And yes, Tala, there are so many rules, but you guys, I can tell you, but I'm telling you, this is how it starts. But I think you guys are doing. So thank you for joining again. Stay safe. Remember me in your duas, and also all of the brothers and sisters you know. Inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah.